So, just to give you a summary of, I guess, my goal with this whole project is just to kind of record your history, just kind of get insight on things that you've experienced and how you feel, and just also, I've been kind of like looking back at my photos and all that, and I realized that I don't really have conversational videos
Oh,
where
okay.
I can hear your laugh,
Mm-hmm.
hear a full thought out opinion
Uh-huh.
or anything like that. So I just was thinking while I'm back here just to kind of get that. So I think just to start off, just start with where you were born, when you were born, and just a little about your family, and we'll
Okay.
just go from there.
Okay. Well, this is really amazing, and I'm glad you're doing this. Okay, so don't be shocked when I tell you the year I was born. 1944. My God,
1944.
that seems like
Wow.
100 years ago.
So, okay.
Okay, in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. My dad was in Europe in World War II,
And
and
his name is William
William
Parkhill.
Parkhill. And so my mom was living with her parents in Middletown, Pennsylvania, and my sister had been born the year before, and I was born, and I didn't actually meet my dad then until I was about 2 years old
Oh wow. This is because he was
because he was in the war.
okay.
Yeah.
And was Mimi your biological mom?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was was it Margaret?
Margaret Parkhill.
Margaret
Yeah.
Parkhill.
Margaret Bittner Parkhill. Yeah.
Um, so you're born in Pennsylvania.
Yes.
Um, how long did you live there?
Well, not very long. When my dad came back from Europe, at that point the war was over, and we moved to Annandale, Virginia, and my dad bought a house, and it was a funny little house. It was, it might still be there for all I know. But anyway, it was an accomplishment. He bought a house,
Mm-hmm.
and he was a pilot for Eastern Airlines,
Okay,
which
so this
was
is after the war.
this is after the war,
Okay.
and he Eastern Airlines doesn't exist anymore. It
Mm-hmm.
didn't exist for a long time, but he was a pilot, so he went to work for an airline, and then the Army Air Corps, which he had been a member of the Army Air Corps during the war, decided to start the Air Force, and so he was invited to come back and work for the Air Force,
Mm-hmm.
stationed in Washington D.C. And Annandale was right across the river from Washington.
Oh, okay.
So we stayed there for quite a while. Um, but at this point now, he was in the Air Force. So then we
Mm-hmm.
started moving around.
Yeah. So at this point, you guys are all moving together, and didn't you guys live across seas? Didn't you live?
Okay, so
Well, what was after that? Was it just kind of like you were moving all the time, and it's kind of hard to
every three
remember?
years.
Okay.
Okay, so we moved to Montgomery, Alabama,
Oh.
and I started first grade there, and that was an interesting experience. And then from there, we moved to London.
Hmm.
And
Interesting.
at that point, my dad became the air attache, which meant he represented the Air Force at NATO.
Hmm.
So we lived in London for about a year, and then he was transferred to France, to Fontainebleau. And so that's where my
That's
love of,
just south of Paris,
yeah,
right?
it is. Uh huh. Actually, Fontainebleau is a wonderful place.
Yeah, I've never been.
Um, so we lived there for 3 years, and I think that's when I became a Francophile.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So you
um,
were how old at that time? Do you remember?
um, I think I was like 8, 9, and 10, something like
Okay.
that. And they rented a house along the river, the Seine River, and there were a lot of other American families in that area. The name of the town was Bois le Roi,
Mm.
and there were several American families that my dad worked for that were also in the Air Force, and so we had a like a network. My parents had a network of friends, and of course the kids. We all ran wild,
Mhm.
um, and
Did you go to school there? Was it
yes,
an
we went to
American
an
school?
American school.
Okay.
Yes, in Fontainebleau.
Um, but were you learning French at the time,
Yes.
or?
Um, the policy at that time was for the people that were in the Air Force had to acclimate to the French culture, so they also had to learn how to speak French. They felt it was really important for all of us to speak French. So my sister and I had French every day in class in school. My dad had French lessons, and my mom, she got by. We had a lady that worked for us that we just adored. Her name was Juliet, and she and my mom learned how to communicate with each other. Juliet would go into the bakery every morning and get a big baguette, put them in her bicycle, and come to our house, and she would clean and cook, and she was wonderful.
Nothing better than a French baguette.
Oh yeah, I know.
Well, it's interesting to see how like that was probably like extremely formative for you.
Yeah.
To grow up in another country, like, and to this day, you know, I think it probably inspire you to travel around because
Oh yeah.
you've been traveling all over. I mean,
Well, we did, and while we were in France, we traveled to Germany. We went to Bavaria, and went to Garmisch, and that's where I learned how to ski. And we went to Italy, and we went to, of course, we had already been in England. So we spent a lot of time traveling around, and it was wonderful.
yeah, didn't you say you have pictures of Pop Up and he's like skiing or like ice climbing on Chamonix Mont Blanc?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, yes. He didn't come back when he was supposed to.
Uh-oh.
And so we got a little concerned. But he finally made it back. He had a guide. So, anyway,
Yeah.
he was quite an adventurer.
I remember you just like telling me about how didn't you guys get like a big American car? Like,
Yes, we did.
imported it into France.
Well, the Air Force flew, transported everything we owned
Yeah.
there. So we had this big Buick. It was enormous. And we'd go every weekend, we'd pile in the car and we'd go somewhere, little villages. And you could hardly fit this car down Main Street. And all the French people were all out there. Oh my gosh, they were so in awe of this car. And of course, the gasoline, that was an issue because they had a different kind of gasoline. But it worked out okay. And then he bought himself a little blue sports car, an Austin Healey. And that was pretty amazing.
Yeah. Wow. And then I think I remember you telling me another like kind of funny story. I thought this took place in France. The leg.
Oh my God.
The leg.
Oh, the leg. Well, before we left London, my dad went over to France and he found a place for us to live. And it was this funny little house right by the railroad tracks. And the person that owned it had a wooden leg. And he kept the wooden leg in this chest by where my sister and I slept. It freaked us out totally. So every other night we switched sides,
Yeah.
and she'd sleep on the side with the wooden leg, and we'd make up stories about this wooden leg.
I definitely remember like when I was growing up, just like totally like freaking each other out.
Yeah.
Just, like, no. And we're like holding on to each other. Like,
So she'd say, "Oh my God, I think I hear something. I think the leg is coming out of the." Oh, of course we couldn't sleep.
even like in just like this your back room, the
Yeah.
closet.
Yeah.
Like all of
Like-
me, Jacob, Josh, like Tim, we would all just be like, the closet, man. I can't sleep next to the closet.
Well, do you remember when we put the skeleton in the bathroom?
Yeah.
Oh, Paco, he thought that was the funniest thing he'd
Yeah.
ever seen.
Big skeleton. Big
Yeah. So the skeleton was sitting on the toilet, and when Kian went in and saw the skeleton, it freaked him out. Oh my God.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, that was so funny.
So you said it was 3-year intervals.
So after we came back from France, we went to Ann Arbor, Michigan. And my dad was a professor of ROTC at the University of Michigan, which meant at that time, every university had a ROTC, which was a training program for anybody that wanted to go into the military. So his job was with the Air Force, of course. So we lived in Ann Arbor, and that was okay. That was interesting. Really brutal winters, and but we ice skated, we skied, we sled, we did everything. So that was fun.
was this part of the 3-year interval? Did you stay there longer?
3 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
So at that point you were.
At that point, I think I was. I think I had started junior high, so maybe 7th grade.
Yeah. Was that hard to just be switching schools?
Well, you know, after a while, you got used to it, and the thing about being in the Air Force and going to military places, everybody was in the same boat.
That's nice.
So everybody was looking to make friends, and you had to learn how to do that.
Yeah.
And it worked out okay. I don't
Yeah.
remember it ever being a problem.
Yeah. I kind of have like not nearly the same amount of experience, but just like changing schools where like you're like going for the first day and you don't know anyone.
I know. Yeah,
It's freaky.
it is. Well, you experienced that when you went to Livermore High.
Yeah, and then also like moving countries is like another.
Oh,
like,
well, that is very. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, that is really tough.
because
Yeah.
at that point, especially when they don't speak English, you're kind of like,
Yeah,
I'm totally out of my element.
right.
But you kind of make do.
You
But,
do.
Yeah.
You find your way,
Yeah.
and you've done a really good job of that.
I think-
You found your way, and you've been successful.
Yeah, I think it's like, even if there's a language barrier, if you show the effort that
Right.
you want to speak their language, they'll make the effort, and you'll kind of meet halfway.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that's true. Even in Paris, they used to say people in Paris were really rude and unfriendly. But if you, like you say, if you make the effort,
Yeah.
they'll meet you halfway.
Yeah. I think that's what a lot of people kind of get wrong. It's like you can't go somewhere and just expect them to like meet, like just do everything for you. Like
That's the
you have
ugly
to show an
American.
interest. Like,
Right.
You have to show that you want to be there. You want to learn. You want to.
And you do,
Yeah.
right? You're there for that purpose. So, yeah, you know how friendly Pacum is really friendly toward everybody. And he always, finds people that he connects with.
Mm-hmm.
And they get into a conversation. And sometimes I have to, come on, Pacum, we're done here.
Yeah.
But he'll keep going on. But that's truly what we've experienced.
Yeah, and I think that's just true when it comes to just like life in general. Like if
Oh, yeah.
if you don't put in like that effort to a relationship and
Yeah.
to your school, your work, whatever, it's like then you get in what you put out. Or,
Exactly.
Like
You do. You get in what you put out. And, you've gone to a whole new country, a new town, a new university, and everything. And I think if you go in with a smile and you greet people warmly and say, how are you doing? Or comment ça va?
yeah,
People respond to that.
yeah.
And I know you do that.
Mm-hmm. So it's at this point you're living in Michigan.
Okay.
Um,
So then we moved to Washington, D.C.
so you go back.
Yes.
and then-
At that point, my dad was at the Pentagon.
Oh wow.
And we lived in Arlington, Virginia, which is right across the river from Washington. And I went through, I think, 8th, 9th grade. And then I went to high school, Yorktown High School in Arlington, Virginia, which is a brand new school at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's probably been demolished because it's so old. But yeah, that was good. But the day after I graduated from high school, we packed up and we moved to the West Coast.
So
So-
you graduated from Virginia.
In Virginia. And
Interesting.
my parents bought a little trailer, and we took like a couple of weeks and we came across
You
country. Yeah,
Oh wow.
yeah. And we had this little trailer. It was kind of an interesting
All your
experience.
stuff? Did a little road trip.
Yeah,
That sounds
yeah.
kind of fun.
It was fun. Yeah. I mean, one night we couldn't find a place to sleep, so we stayed on the side of the road. One night we slept in a Christmas tree farm and that kind of thing. So it was fun.
Wow.
Yeah. And then when we came to California, my dad was actually stationed in Southern California in San Bernardino.
Mm-hmm.
And but not for very long, if I remember right, because then we moved.
Is he still with the military at this point?
Yes,
Okay.
he was stationed at Norton Air Force Base. That's right, in San Bernardino. And so then when he retired, we moved to Northern California, where he was given a job working for an architecture and engineering firm, and his job was to get new business in Southeast Asia. So he was traveling all the time to China, where it, not China, but where you could go, Hong Kong, I guess, and Japan and all and places like that. And so I started school there at the junior high school, the junior college, Foothill.
In California.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was in Los Altos. And then after that,
Didn't
I
he help design? Was the Hong Kong airport?
yes, he did. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Oh, actually, he was the project manager. So his job was to get the architects, the all the engineers, and develop this
Airport. Yeah.
airport.
Wow.
And it was quite an undertaking.
Yeah, I imagine wow. So did you went to school, right? You went to college?
I went to Long Beach State,
Mm-hmm.
Cal State Long Beach, and I graduated with a degree in sociology. And then when we moved to Northern California, I got a teaching credential
Mm-hmm.
through San Jose State.
Did you meet my grandpa
It's
Uh,
yeah.
at Long Beach?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah.
And wasn't my mom born in Long Beach?
Yes, she was. Yeah.
Was this at the same time like you met my grandpa and had my mom down in Long Beach and then you went back up?
Yes.
Okay.
Then we moved back to Northern California. And at that point, I can't read it's a little vague. At that point, things didn't work out for with us,
Right.
so we got a divorce, and I started teaching.
You had been together for how long at that point, you know?
I think 6 years, something like
Okay.
that. It's kind
Um,
of a blur.
And my mom was how old at the time when you guys got divorced?
Um, oh boy, how old was she?
I thought she was like
Maybe 3 or 4.
because how
Pretty
soon
young.
was it that you met Pacom?
Oh, that was quite a bit later. I
One
had
of them I thought was like 7 or 9 or something around. that
okay,
time.
so I met Pacom in 1960, maybe 1970. I'd already been teaching a couple years,
Mhm.
and I met Pacom, and the rest is history.
Well, I kind of heard the story from Pacom's point of view, but I kind of want to hear how you guys met.
Well, we were at a party, and I spent the evening. I had a girlfriend. She's going to have this party. She said, "Come, and there'll be lots of people there. Somebody you might be interested in meeting." Well, the only couple there was Pacom and his ex-wife.
Yeah, they were still together at that
They
point.
were, yes,
But they were kind of on the
right. They had already agreed that they were going to separate. Well, I spent the evening talking with them and didn't think a thing of it. And then a couple months later, your dad showed up because I lived on the other side of the duplex,
Mhm.
and he showed up, and we had this nice little conversation. And he said, "Would it be okay if I called you sometime?" And I said, "Yeah, that would be nice." And so he started to leave, and I said, "Would you like my phone number?"
yeah.
So that was the beginning of that.
Wow. No, it's just kind of one of those things about life that kind of like blows my mind is that like yeah, had you maybe not gotten the phone number, you wouldn't
Yeah.
have met or like stayed with Pacom and
I
you
know.
like just
Fate.
fate, like the way like our stories work is just like hinges on all of these little
I know.
moments.
That's right. All these little chance
Yeah.
encounters. Yeah.
So interesting.
Yeah.
What was it? Pacom, he was telling me a story about how I think it was the first time that he was coming over to your house, I think, and he saw my mom, and she was like up in a tree.
She was up in a tree.
That's
She
so funny.
Oh, that was
my
so
mom,
funny.
like-
Yeah. And then it was not too long after that, I met his 3 kids, Marcy, Lisa, and Kevin.
Mm,
And they all came over one evening, and we had a really nice time.
mhm. Yeah, it seems like you guys really like meshed, like, and even before, you guys were like fully together, it was like the kids had kind of clicked, like
They
they
had.
were hanging out, and um,
And I was getting along really well with the kids,
yeah,
and it was nice.
yeah. It's always so weird for me because like it's all I've ever known.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
so it's like I can't imagine you like meeting like Uncle Kevin or Auntie Marcy or
Yeah.
Auntie Lisa, like, because for me it's always just been family. So
Right.
like, and I feel like it's just because of like the way that you and Pacum and just the way the family's been is like it's family. Like it's not like step anything. It's not my step
Well,
cousins. It's not
there were some bumps in the road,
right.
and
That's life.
but I think because everybody was committed to the relationship,
Mm-hmm.
the kids and Pacum and myself, we were committed to making it work, and it did. I can remember coming home from school, and we lived on Lilac Way, the house that you know,
Mm-hmm.
and cooking dinner for 6 people. That was new to me,
Right.
and every night.
Yeah, because it had just been you and my mom for
Yeah,
a
just the
while.
two of us.
Yeah, that's the way she describes it. Is just like your guys' bond is so close because like just kind of in our like really formative years, it was just you and her.
That's right.
Um,
It was.
and so yeah, I imagine that probably was kind of hard to let
Well,
other people in because for
yeah.
Pacum, he had 3 other kids, so he kind of knew how to I guess like spread the love like to.
Well, I think his 3 kids were pretty good at that.
Mm-hmm.
They were very accepting. They loved your mom. But like I say, there were bumps in the road. It wasn't all smooth sailing.
Yeah.
But, when I look back on it now and I look at the way we are now, we're all very close.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody, I love the girls, Marcy
Mm-hmm.
and Lisa. And we have a really good relationship and it's worked out.
Mm-hmm.
But there were bumps in the road.
Definitely. Yeah. So, and then it was like you kind of had to deal with that, like your family's growing fast
Yeah.
twice because it was, well, okay, so it was Emily and then Josh, and they were your first
First grandkids. Yeah.
for a while, but then what was it? It was
Jacob,
then Olivia, but and that was like kind of like normal, like boom, 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 boom.
well, we call that the first wave.
Yeah, first wave.
The first wave. And then the second wave came along,
Yeah.
and you guys were like bang, 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 bang.
Yeah. It was, the girls were born in December.
Yeah,
Tim in January, and me in March.
right.
So, like 4 months, and
Yeah, all of a sudden. And I remember I have a picture of the 4 of you. You're in your little, what are those little sleepy things that you
Yeah,
had?
the little,
Those little beds.
okay.
All of you lined up, sound asleep. And I said, "Are you sure that's your kid? Because you all look the same."
Yeah, except for Tim, he had the big cheeks,
He did.
and I was a little raisin head. Like I was when I was like a little baby. I was the tiny little.
Oh
like-
my God, Ken, you're so adorable. Oh my God.
You'd always tell me that you're like I'm not gonna lie, I was worried about you. You had a cone head.
You did. Oh, that was so. Well, the first time I saw you, you had a cone head. I thought, oh my God, is he ever going to be okay? Luckily, it went away.
No, it's actually still here.
Oh, and then I used to put you on my lap. Your head would be here, and you'd be on your back. And I would take your feet and go like this, peekaboo. Oh, you laughed hysterically. Oh my God. And I remember my mom, she was sitting by me when I was doing that. She was so taken with you.
Mhm.
You thought, oh, he is the cutest baby. Oh my gosh.
I don't remember too much of Mimi because Mimi, I think she died when I was like 9 or 10 or something, around that age.
Let's see. She died in the year 2006.
Okay, so I was 6.
So you were 6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't remember too much about her.
No.
But I do remember her being like, girls are gonna be chasing these boys.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. She thought you and Jacob were so adorable, which you were, of course.
That's funny.
You remember my dad, though, right?
Yeah, yeah. I was fortunate enough to like know him. I think I was like 13 around. Do you know the year that he died?
He died in, I think, the year 2013.
Yeah,
I'm
so I would've
pretty
been
sure.
13. I think I was in middle school, but I was,
Yeah.
I guess, like cognizant enough, like to know, like to like kind of like talk to him about like his life and
Do you remember going out on the boat?
yeah,
Okay,
Uh,
so it was
the
you,
last hurrah.
the last hurrah. Okay, it was you and Chris and Tim.
Mhm.
I think it was just the three of you.
And I think my mom was also with us.
She might have been, yeah.
Or was she?
Well, Tim's job was to keep Chris from jumping overboard or falling overboard.
Oh my.
Oh, that was quite a trip. We had a good
That
time.
was awesome. We were just like cruising through the San Francisco Bay.
Yeah.
And I just remember being so cold.
Oh, I
like,
know.
We're all like huddled up.
Yeah, pretty cold and
it's like,
miserable.
We're like looking around and it's
Yeah.
like huge boats and just
Yeah.
like going through the bay.
Yeah.
And like we were like going like under, and then we pull up to the this little restaurant that's just like just on the water.
Right.
And we like hop out and we get like clam chowder, and we're just like all just kind of like having so much fun.
You and Chris and Tim were at one table,
Yeah.
and Pacum and my dad and I were at the other, and we couldn't believe you ate clam chowder. You was eating clam chowder?
Oh my gosh.
That was quite an. And then when we came back and docked, we had to keep our eye on Chris because he would walk on the side and he would do all these things that scared us because we
Yeah.
thought he was going to go in the drink.
I'm gonna pause you guys, just so you can say goodbye.
Okay. Okay. I don't remember where we left off, but
I think that we were talking a little bit about the family being on Lilac Way and living there for 20 some years. We lived there, and then you guys were all off. You were doing your things, and I don't know. It just seemed like a good time for us to move over here to the Villages.
yeah. God, that was like this is my grandma's house. Like such good vibes for me. Like I remember, I don't know, just like the secret spot fairy, the
So guilty.
underneath the stairs there was the you keep climbing back and back, and then there was
Yeah.
like a door, and we're like, what's behind the door? And
That's where the secret spot fairy lived.
yeah, that was her house. I remember that you had this tree that I just thought was like the perfect climbing tree, where you could just kind of like walk up the branches and just go up
Oh,
and up
yeah.
and up. I would get too scared to go higher than a certain point though. Or Pacum had made a a shed in
Yeah,
the back, and we had all these like fake ovens and
Yes.
stuff like that.
A little playhouse.
And I also remember you had this really big hedge that kind of like divided your backyard,
Yeah.
and me and Tim would just like start like climbing through there and like imagining we're like traveling through like the Amazon forest or something like that.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, just so many good memories. So I know we were all kind of bummed when you guys said you were moving, but I just kind of like was like, okay, I'll make new memories here. I'll eventually love it, and I have really come to like this place. I like your view, and like I remember just like going up the hill and doing all that, but especially just for like you guys, I think it's been really nice.
It's been wonderful.
Like
It was very hard to leave Lilac Way, and I felt terrible for you guys, and so did Pacum. We both did, but we also felt that if we moved to the Villages, we needed to go when we could still play golf and tennis, which we did a little bit, and that was a good thing for us because we didn't really know anybody in Los Gatos anymore. Everybody had moved away, so we were kind of looking at each other like, "What are we going to do now?" Uh, and so being here, I joined the women's 9-hole golf group and made wonderful friends. And we play cards together. We go on trips together. We do all kinds of things. So it's been great for me, and also for Pacum. He's made some wonderful friends, and he has a group of guys. They get together and they talk sports, 49ers mostly. And he has a group of friends. They play bridge. So we keep ourselves pretty busy here.
Yeah.
And I don't think we would have it on Lilac Way.
Yeah, I feel like you guys have just been really living a healthy like retirement, like because like I think it's pretty easy when you're retired to just kind of be like, well, I'm just gonna watch TV all day, and I think I've found I was kind of thinking like this pandemic, like this whole year, kind of felt like I was retired, and that's like the dream when you're a kid. It's like I just want to retire. I just want to retire right now, but then you kind of realize you're like, there's only so many shows on Netflix.
That's
There's
right.
and you're like you
Yeah.
want to do stuff to stay busy, and I think you guys have done like a really good job at that. Like
We have.
Re-
We really we've told each other many times, and especially during the pandemic, because we had a group of friends that we formed this bubble, and every Friday afternoon at 5 o'clock, we get together at somebody's house, and we'd have some wine and we'd spend a couple hours together, and so it didn't feel like we were totally isolated.
yeah,
Even though most every day we were pretty much, and that was okay.
Yeah.
We found things to do around the house that were fine.
well they have kind of like, have you heard of the blue zones? They're these just like regions in the world that have the most amount of centennials, the most amount of people that live over 100 years old.
Oh, really?
And they're finding that a huge factor is people staying active, people having a
Oh.
community,
Uh-huh.
and kind of like continuing, like just having like kind of like a purpose when they like wake up.
Oh, that's interesting. Well, I definitely feel I know every morning when I get up, I have a purpose. I have a list of things I have to do. Some things I don't want to do, but I always have stuff I have to do. And one of the things almost every day is I go for a walk with two really good friends. And we hike. We went up to the top not that long ago, but we either go up the hills or we just walk around here. And that's been wonderful because, over the years, 10 years now, we've walked together. I've gotten to know them pretty well, and we have a lot to talk about. And that's kind of the way the day starts. And then, unless I'm playing golf.
Yeah.
And then, then it's the normal routine around the house, taking care of Pacum. He's a lot of work.
He's gotta see this, Nana. Yeah. One thing I thought was really cool was that when you had come to France, I realized like you had kept up your French. Like you were speaking really well. Like I thought you were. I thought you were
That's
able
'cause you
to.
didn't know that much. I know enough to kind of get by, but
But I mean, just like kind of having like just like traveling and like speaking French and stuff like that. Like that's things that I want to do. Like
Yeah.
when I want to go on hikes, I want to
yeah.
do that. So that's
Oh,
kind
I
of been
love that
like
about you, Tian. That's
an
I
inspiration.
love your spirit.
Mhm.
Your desire to go out into the world and take whatever.
Mhm. Yeah.
I mean, you took a big chance to going to France. You didn't
Yeah.
know what you were getting into.
Yeah, it's definitely been scary. It's like at first it's it's a whirlwind because it's like it's fun, it's scary, it's you're learning all this stuff, but with learning stuff means failure and
Yes.
feeling dumb and feeling like frustrated,
Yeah.
but also feeling accomplished
Right.
and
Yes. Look what you have accomplished.
yeah. And I think for me the hardest thing has been probably just being away from family.
Yeah.
Um, that was a big, this upcoming summer I was kind of thinking, I was like, at first I was thinking like, I don't think I'm gonna come back to the United States. It was so much trouble just getting over to France and the money and all these things. But then I was just kind of like, I really miss my family. I want to do this. I want to record these conversations and just kind of, see my dog, see everyone.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think one thing that has helped me is just like how supportive you guys have been, and also just being able to talk to you guys like about my French stories, and just
Yeah.
like kind of being able to laugh and relate about whatever it is,
Yeah.
and just kind of sharing my adventures with you, and um hopefully they'll
Well,
be
I
able to
think
come back.
this experience that you've had over the last couple of years being an ex, I think has shown you that you can go out into the world, and if you're friendly and you're nice and you're kind, which you are, and you put your best foot forward, you are going to be okay. And I love that spirit about you. The fact that you've gone to Italy, you've gone to different places, and you're going to continue to do that. It's wonderful. It really is.
Yeah. Well,
It just I miss seeing you a lot,
mhm.
but we see you enough that it's okay. And I'm so happy that you're doing what you're doing.
Yeah,
So
I appreciate that. Um,
well, we'll see you next summer.
yeah, we got to do the barge trip.
Oh, do you think that'll happen?
I
I'd
don't know.
love for that to
It
happen.
it's been kind of something we've been talking about, but who
Well,
knows?
one of the barge trips we did was we went to near Carcassonne,
Mm,
and we did that whole. And I was thinking that if we did a barge trip, that's probably what we would do, and it was wonderful.
yeah, or we could rent like a beach house in Cassis
Oh,
and
yeah.
just
I love that idea.
yeah,
Oh, that would be great.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that was so much fun when you guys came last year. It was 2019, so I guess
It was two. It was.
I guess two,
summers ago.
two, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
It was like around October time, right? Because my family eventually met up. You guys were already in Europe. I think you had done.
We had gone to Italy, and we had gone to we'd gone to Italy, and then I think, but then we flew to Paris, and then we flew to, not Marseille. What's the other little town near there?
Nice,
And we
or-
no, it was on the other side. We stayed with our friends Patty and Jack Nelson, and then we met up with Marie and Glenn, who you met, and that's when we went to Villefranche, which I loved.
Oh my gosh, that was so. I love that, like that region, like the Côte d'Azur, like the
I know.
French Riviera, like
so wonderful.
it's so like Italian influenced, and just like all these little streets and
Oh
going
yeah.
up and down,
Yeah.
and I just remember it was you and Pacum, Maria and Glenn, Darian and I, and Maya and Joel, and we got like a big long table
Yeah,
right on the water,
Oh, isn't
and
that wonderful?
we just were having so much
I
fun.
know.
Like,
we did. We
Yeah.
had such a great time with them.
yeah,
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to seeing them again. I hope they're going to be there when we come next summer.
yeah. I also have another memory of I was walking back from school, and I'm walking down the Cour Mirabeau, and I just like happened to like. It took me like a second to realize. I was like, "Wait, that's Nana and Pacum. You guys are just like lounging out,
Yeah,
just
right,
at the. You guys are at the Les Deux Garçons,
Yeah.
and I was just like, Nana.
That was so great.
Yeah.
It was so well. We really wanted to go to France to see you
Mhm.
and be in that part. And I love that part of France. I mean,
Yeah.
that's where, if I had to go to France and stay there, it would be somewhere in Provence or on the Riviera.
Yeah, and I'm a little bummed because at the time I had only been living in X. I think I moved in September or like late August, and then you guys came in October. So I'd only been living there for a couple months. So I wasn't super familiar with the city. But now after living there for like 2 years,
Oh yeah.
I think I know it a little better, and
Yeah.
like know, especially like when I go back this summer, I'm planning on like visiting a lot more of like the surrounding regions because that's one thing I was a little bummed about with like, I mean, there's only so much you can do during COVID,
Right.
but just not being able to really travel around. But I think everything's open now, so
Yeah. Good.
I am a little excited to
Yeah.
be able to go around and see
And
what's
you're
up.
going to go to Italy.
Yeah.
Oh, that's going to be great.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Are you going to take a train?
Yeah, so I think we're going to maybe take a bus to Nice and then take either a bus or train to Milan, and then we're gonna stay in Milan for one night, and then Darian and a friend of hers, we're gonna go down to Florence for a couple days, and then back up to Verona, and then Lake Garda, which is just right by, and then back to Milan.
Oh, that's going to be great.
Yeah,
Verona's a wonderful place.
yeah.
Has a big amphitheater, like they like the one in Rome, the big, and oh, it's a beautiful city.
Yeah, it's a Romeo and Juliet,
Yes,
right?
Right.
Right. That's
You'll
what.
go to the house.
Yeah,
That's a tourist
that's a
thing.
must. See.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited to like. That's like one of the reasons why I moved to France was just the ease of travel.
Oh yeah.
Like, because the first year I lived there before COVID, I had gone to Italy in October. I went to Cinque Terre for a week, and that was amazing.
Oh yeah.
You have to watch this movie. I think it's called Luca. It takes place in Italy. I was just kind of like, I recognize that. Like,
It's called Lucca.
yeah, it's a Disney movie.
Okay. Because there's a town called Lucca.
Hmm.
That's everybody goes to Lucca because it's great. It's a walled city, and it's not too far from Milan. I don't think. We spent a week there one time, and it was great.
Yeah. And then in February, it was actually right before COVID hit, or around when COVID was hitting. I went up into the French Alps and went to
Oh yeah.
um
Chamonix.
yeah, we were staying in Annecy, and then we took a bus up into Chamonix, and it was
Yeah.
so pretty.
I
And
know.
that's like when you're able to travel, like living in France is great, like just like day to day, but I think when you get to like kind of travel around,
I know.
it kind of revives it. Like
It's
where you're like,
great.
this is
And
where
you
I
can
live.
take a train and go anywhere.
Hmm.
Yeah, and you will.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
there's so many wonderful places.
I'm excited to visit Italy again, and as long as I live there, like I think, and just as long as I live, like the adventures are
Oh yeah.
out there.
Well, yeah, you can go to England
Hmm.
and go up into the Scandinavian countries and Germany, and oh my
Mhm.
gosh, it's going to be wonderful.
Yeah.
And you're young enough, you can do it, and you'll just love it.
Hmm. And I'm also excited to just kind of start school and start meeting locals and start making friends.
Yeah.
And
That would be good.
it's just like it's one of those things that growing up I was never really a francophile. Like I was never
No,
really like watching French movies. Or I
No.
didn't even take French in high school. Like
no, I know. Why would you?
I had no idea. And then like I met my girlfriend and we had this amazing trip in 2018, and it was just kind of like
Yes.
this is
I know.
where I
Yeah.
want to be.
I know. I know.
You do.
Absolutely, I do. Yeah. I don't think I'll ever get tired of traveling to Europe.
Yeah.
And I think I hope we can get Pacom over there next year.
Yeah. That's he was telling me last time that he wasn't totally sure if he was gonna be able to come back to Europe, but I mean maybe the barge trip would be accessible for him. I know it's a little harder for him to like walk around,
We'll
but
have to see how he's doing. You know, right now he has all these marbles, which just really drives me crazy. He remembers everything, but he's physically getting a little bit weaker, and I'm losing my marbles, but physically I'm okay. So we're a good pair.
The brain and the brawn.
Yeah, the brain and the brawn. Really, that's the way it works. Yeah. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, but I'm just happy to be able to spend time together.
I'm thrilled with what you're doing. I just am so thrilled. I never thought I would live to see the day. And you know, I just thought, oh, I'd love to have a grandkid go to school in X. And there you are.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So I'm just so happy for you.
Thank you.
You're in a good place.
Yeah.
And you might stay there.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it's like, people keep asking me, like, so are you planning on staying in France for the rest of your life? And at this moment, you know, yes. But at the same time, it's like, no one knows the future.
No, you don't know the future.
So,
No. And, you know, I always think southern France you're a little bit isolated there. There's so many horrible things are happening in the United States right now and you can get away from it. That's good. I know it's not a perfect society by any means. They have their problems too, but you shouldn't get involved in that. You know, you should just lead your life and enjoy it.
yeah, just kind of whatever seems like the best option for me at the moment. I'm just gonna go for and just try and go all in and just see where that gets me. And you know, I might be going down one path and that leads me to something that will take me down another path.
Exactly.
And who knows where I'll end up.
That's right. Who knows?
Yeah.
But you will have some good explorations and many opportunities to try new things.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
I'm gonna miss you.
I'm gonna miss you too.
But I'm just thrilled that you were able to come home. That was good. See your family. I know they miss you.
Yeah.
But your mom is like, I know we've talked about this. She's happy because you're happy. And she's happy that you're in such a good place.
Yeah. That like, it kind of like feeds into like, she's happy that I'm happy and I'm happy that she's happy that I'm happy.
There you go. Yeah. And you know, the COVID, that whole thing has been interesting in that you guys were home for that period of time, and she just loved having you guys there. And she loves having Jacob and Annika there too.
Yeah, I think that was also a big motivation for me to come back, was like, I had come home for pretty much all of 2020.
Yeah.
But I wasn't able to really see you in Pockham or the Smiths or really anyone else. And so it was like kind of like, dang, I was here, but I didn't get to really see anybody.
Well, nobody did.
Yeah.
That was really strange.
Yeah, so like, it's been just like kind of great to be able to like come back, get vaccinated, and then just kind of like
be normal.
Yeah, go back to normal a bit. Like,
right. Yeah, like today, having everybody in the house, and you know, it was wonderful.
Like, that would have been just so unimaginable, like, just a couple months ago.
I know. Isn't it amazing that we survived that pandemic, and then they were able to get this vaccine out so fast, and I think we're going to be okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm really keeping my fingers crossed that we're just getting out. And
now Darian and Brian and Victoria have had their vaccine?
Yeah, they actually got vaccinated before me.
They did?
Yeah. Oh. It was looking like we were so frustrated. We were like, everyone in the United States is getting vaccinated. So they're like having empty like places, vaccination centers every day.
Right.
And we're struggling to get anything. And then like it was just kind of like boom boom boom, like just like they got their vaccine things, like they're like refreshing, and then they got their appointments and got vaccinated before I left. Which I was really happy about, because I'm like, yes, I was kind of worried that I was going to go get vaccinated. They were not going to be vaccinated. I was hearing crazy things like, oh, you're not going to be able to get vaccinated in France until 2022. And I'm like, oh, no. Like, this is horrible. But now I'm like, okay, cool. Like, I'm going to be vaccinated. They're going to be vaccinated. And we can just, like, have our summer together and
Right,
kind of
and you can travel. And
Yeah.
yeah. I think you probably need to still wear a mask
yeah,
and be careful
definitely
about that.
try and don't go no mask into like a huge crowd of people where you can't.
And Italy, I think, they've had a lot of problems with the virus. I don't know where they are now, but if you're going to Italy, you still have to be careful.
Yeah, yeah,
But we survived, which is really amazing.
yeah. Honestly, like, and I think, uh, it's just also not only like physical fix. Thank God we didn't get sick, but like just the mental effect
I know.
of COVID.
Yeah, and the worry.
Yeah, the worry, the anxiety,
Yeah, being scared.
and
Yeah.
just kind of, I'm like an introverted person. Like, I would think I'd be okay not seeing people, but I'm like, I just want like to be able to be like, just so like easygoing. Like, yeah, your friends
Yeah.
can come. Like, we can all just like, I can meet with my neighbors. I can like talk
Yeah.
to like
Yeah.
people and not have to be like so. Like,
I know. I'm glad that part is over.
Yeah,
Yeah, I feel like we're getting back there.
yeah. No, it's been.
I've never lived through anything like this.
Mm-hmm.
No, in all my years. I mean, and here you are in your early 20s, and you've already lived through this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Hopefully, it won't happen again.
Yeah, it's one of those things that's like kind of like marks a generation
It
where
does.
it's just like,
Yeah.
that's what, when I was growing up, that's what happened, kind of.
Yeah.
Just kind of sucks, but whatever.
Well, we lived through polio. That was the one thing. That wasn't a pandemic, but that was a scary time when a lot of kids were getting polio and they couldn't walk, and parents wouldn't let their kids go to the park or could never go to a swimming pool or a movie theater.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
but then they developed a vaccine for that, and that went away. So,
Yeah, it eventually works out, and that's kind of like what I've like tried to just kind of keep reminding myself as like it'll be tough and there will be losses and stuff like that, but just eventually it'll work out,
yeah,
and just kind of holding out hope and being optimistic.
yeah.
I
And
think-
so far, things are looking pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're going to miss you.
I'm gonna
A
miss
lot.
you too.
I know.
Let me give you a hug.
Oh, but we will see you very soon, sweetie pie.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh,
I love you.
I love you too, sweetie. Last time you were here, we couldn't hug.
I know.
Oh my gosh. So things are better, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that was nice